Hello again from me, Rouvaun Smit. Good to have you along on a sure thing as we wrap up the weekend's racing action with a trip to the capital of KZN, Pietermaritzburg. We're there on Sunday afternoon at Hollywoodbets Scottsville for an 8-race program that gets underway at 12:30. Not the easiest of cards, I thought. There are a number of races where we're really going to have to play with a bit of cover. In fact, I've even tipped one or two long shots, I'm sure. I unfortunately didn't have the benefit of having anti-post betting just prior to pre-recording the show, so I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and sentiments in terms of what I think is possibly going to be the outcome in each and every race, and let's compare notes and see who's right, who's wrong, and who found more winners than who on the afternoon. The first race gets underway 12:30, and like is the case in the first race, there are races where also stand out and you go, I'm not looking any further than that. That does stand out, like, for example, number 3 Thingamabob in race number 1. I thought a banker in the opening leg of the bipot, with there only being 8 races on the card, it means that the exotics on the tote starts in the first, and 5 minutes prior to race 1, you of course also need to be on with your Hollywoodbet punted challenge entries. Now, having said that, there is a scratching in the first. Let me first deal with that. Out of race 1, you can take number 2, Sol Namora. So 13 runners will contest race number 1 on the card. And as I said, 3 Thingamabob is my first choice selection. This horse has got very strong Cape Town form. And we know strong Cape Town form in provinces outside of Cape Town is very strong, and one can safely lean on them with confidence to win when you do tip them and you do select them for you. Now this horse is coming back from a bit of a break. Was last seen in action about 11 weeks ago. I do think would have strengthened up in that time. Now makes KZN debut. That second last time out was at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and that form line behind Claire de Lune has been franked. The horse that finished 5th that day was a horse called Heritage Ridge, who has subsequently come out and won since then. And this strong form from Cape Town, I do think, will be more than enough for 3 Thingamabob to unsaddle in the number 1 box. So I'm going 3 Thingamabob ahead of 6 Treasure Island, 8 Light of Gabriel, and 1 Belligerent as my selections in the opener. Race number 2 is the opening leg of the Place Accumulator. You need to be on by 13:05, and yeah, I'm also going banker in the opening leg of the Place Accumulator because I'm going for a horse that I went for last time out, and in fact this horse has got a never say die attitude, and that is number 7 Holy Star. This horse has got solid form lines coming into this race. I went for him last time, so he certainly owes me. He was up with the pace over the course and distance last time out. He fought hard all the way to the wire, but found one just too good on the day, and I do think this time around, from the front, if he kicks away again at the right time and say, come and catch me if you can, he'll be hard to peg back in the run to the wire, and I do think we'll make amends for the boys. I even wrote here, guaranteed you will get a run for your money. 7 Holy Star to win race 2. Ahead of 6, that'll be the day. 9 Rip Snorter and 5 Grand Force are the selections in race number 2. Third race is the first leg of the Pick 6. You need to be on a 13:40. It's a C Stakes merit rate at 83 and below. 8 runners will line up at the 2,400 meter mark. A race where you could probably make a case for quite a few of them. I'm going to be siding with my good old friend, Barsi Rakvat. I thought Barsi Rakvat, it's by time that he goes over a distance he's much better suited to. Last time out, 1750 way too short. Now going over 2,400 meters, much better suited to 2,400s. In fact, if you look at that column, you'll see 3 runs for 2 seconds over the course and distance. Comes in here carrying 52.5 kilograms. Nicholas Patel knows him very well, and in fact if you look at his form lines you'll see 2 runs ago 2,400 second, 2 runs prior to that 2,400 meters second. I do think that he'll be kicking on nicely, picking them off one by one in the run to the wire, and besides me asking how many more times must I go for him, I think he can make amends on Sunday. I'm going 7 Barsi Rakvat ahead of number 8 the Mikado. For third, 4 Continental Express, and fourth, number 3, Escapologist. Race 4, that's the first leg of the first jackpot. A Class 4 fillies and mares benchmark 80. 1,600 meters is the distance, and a field of 11 runners will contest race 4 on the card. This is one of those races, F&M, Field and More, where you need to load up and put in as many as the budget allows. My first choice selection in the race is number 10, Sign of Fate. Now, I thought those last 3 runs were exceptionally good runs. Last time out was staying on very strongly in the closing stages, and if one looks at the course and distance, or just the distance record, that alone tells you ideally suited to this kind of trip, has had 11 runs over the trip for 2 wins, a second and a third. And I do think with this horse being in the rich vein of form that it is, should go close and be involved in the shake-up. So I'm going 10, Sign of Fate, to beat number 3, Spring Kiss. For third, number 11, Prom Queen, and fourth, number 5, Redo. Moving on to race number 5 on the programme, and in race 5 we have a field of 11 runners who will face the starter for leg 1 of Jackpot 2, and you need to be on at 14.50 if you are going to be playing the second jackpot on the day. Another one of those very, very tricky races, and in fact I may have even complicated this a little bit more for myself, because I see there are a couple of them that are renewing rivalry, those that ran behind the race that Copacabana won last time out. So we've got the likes of Amerfort, Copacabana, the Queen Bee, Roy Taking Off, Flying Rain Storm. We've also got My True Love and Sky Velocity. All of them, literally 3/4 of the race, all renewing rivalry because of finishing behind number 2, Copacabana. Having had a closer look at how this all unfolded, I see now that number 6, Flying Rain Storm, was 3.8 lengths behind Copacabana and is now 2.5 kilos bit off at the weights, but that's not enough to turn the tables. However, 6, Flying Rain Storm, showed pace, over-raced particularly around the turn, and then was hanging over the final 350 metres, and all of that, to me, cost Flying Rain Storm a far better position than 4th, and should have been much closer than 3.8 lengths behind the winner. Good to see Daryl Daniels retain the ride. He's certainly getting to know Flying Rain Storm well. This is the kind of horse that, if going to the front and is allowed to dictate matters, will be very hard to peg back in the run to the wire, hence the reason I'm going 6, Flying Rain Storm, to cause the upset, ahead of number 2, Copacabana, 7, Chapoli, and 1, Amerfort. 6th race of the day is a Class 5, benchmark 66. 12 runners have been carded to contest race 6. There is one scratching here, number 11, In a Fixed Stakes No Part, so 11 runners will line up at the 1,000 metre mark, and here I'm siding with Tristan Godden and Mike Miller, and I'm going for number 3, Catavar. Good to see Tristan Godden retain the ride. This horse ran on very strongly last time out when he won going away, and he beat Intrepid by half a length that time. That was over the strip at Hollywoodbets Grayville. In the penultimate, if you look at it, you'll see second, 1.6 lengths behind number 2, Capellina, with whom he renews rivalry here. And there was 1.6 lengths between the two. Is now 3 kilos bit off at the weights. That should be more than enough to turn the tables. And I also do think that Catavar, the way he finished off last time out, can make it back-to-back wins. So I'm going 3, Catavar, ahead of 2, Capellino, 4, Blast from the Past, 6, Wherever I Lay My Hat. On to race number 7. This is the penultimate race of the day. A middle stakes where 10 runners will line up at the 1,200 metre mark. Another race where you really have to play with quite a bit of cover. I see King of Spin and Bourbon Warrior. They renew rivalry. King of Spin has picked up a £6 penalty for that head beating, while Bourbon Warrior is 2 kilos worse off for the weights with number 2, King of Spin, for that head beating last time out. Quandary, on the other hand, finished third last time out, and that form line has been franked. But I'm going to overlook all of them, and I can tell you somebody up there is looking down and absolutely going to smile now when I'm going to tell you that my first choice selection in this race is none other than number 9, Hit Them Hard Sunshine. I've been waiting patiently to see Hit the Mod Sunshine in a race where I do think he'll be far more competitive in. He's ideally distance suited. For 4 runs, he's had a win and a second. Alison Wright has gotten to the better of him. Utton Dilliam Gludwa has gotten to know him well. Those last 2 runs, I don't know what went wrong there, but I will tell you this much. That was much stronger company. I mean, that was a feature race in the penultimate, running behind Future Variety. That was the Umgeni handicap. And then last time out, ran in an Ace Stakes behind Lion Rampart. That was very, very strong company that Hit the Mod Sunshine ran against. Here, he's dropping in class. And I do think, being ideally distance suited, I've been waiting for him to take on this kind of field. And I do think that he will be competitive in a race of this nature. So, shall we go outright win or shall we go each ways? Let's be cheeky. I'm going each ways. Number 9, Hit the Mod Sunshine. Ahead of number 3, Quandary. 2, King of Spin. 1, Bourbon Warrior. Last race on the card, 16:35 is the off of race 8. Scratched here is number 8, Chap Book. A field of 13 will contest race 8 on the programme, and I'm not looking anywhere beyond number 9, Exocet, as my first choice selection in the last. This horse won well on debut, found another gear close home, and then pulled clear in the closing stages. Just the manner in which this horse finished off that race tells me that he will enjoy the step up to 1200. The horse that finished 4th that day, by the way, was the horse that came out next time out, Quandary Cowdery Park, and Frank that form line. And it's good to see Richard Free will be riding at this meeting, and this is probably one of the reasons why Richard is at Hollywoodbets Scottsville on Sunday afternoon. Now, Exocet does take on stronger, but I do think is more than equal to the task at hand, and I'm looking no further than the Mike and Matthew de Kock trained-in mate, 9 Exocet, to close the meeting ahead of 11 Circumbendibus. For third, I'm going with 1 Cardinal Chief, and fourth, number 7, Now I Got You. And that takes care of the weekend's racing action. Trust it's been an enjoyable and profitable weekend for you. Look forward to chatting to you next time midweek. Till then, from me, Rouvaun, you take care. Cheers for now.